I seen a lot of people live. Burna Boy, Kid, Kendrick Lamar. I seen a lot of people. And Stormzy put on the best performance I've ever seen live. I was supposed to recap the night last night. This is day 4, technically. But day 3 was crazy. This is what I mean day, the festival. What I came out here for. And my voice is kind of gone. I'm kind of hungover. But I had a great time. And it was everything I thought it would be and more. And I saw the best set of my life yesterday. So let me get into it. The day was basically finding the hotel, dropping my bags off, and going there. So the festival is called All Points East. And it's like a week long. And I think they curate each day for like a different vibe, right? And so Stormzy had the first day. And he called it This Is What I Mean Day. And he basically selected the artists that were going to go on and perform that day. And he had a great lineup of people, right? It was Nippa, Tay Ewar, Lucky Day, Knucks, Western, Sampha, and then it was a couple DJs sprinkled through and a couple small artists. I will say about the setup of the festival, I thought it was interesting, right? I liked it, but I thought it was a little confusing just because there were like 4 or 5 stages on the festival grounds. I just feel like if it was a little bit more clear about getting around, there was a couple maps, but it was just like I didn't know who was performing. My app wasn't working, so I wasn't able to look up the set list. So that was a little bit of a problem, but once I asked around, asked a couple people, I was able to piece it together and figure out who I wanted to see and when. So I got there around like 3:30 or 4, and I caught the end of Nippa's set, and he was actually really dope. I had heard his name before, never listened to his music, but hearing him perform, like he can actually sing. I feel like in today's age, like you can do so much with computers and AI with your voice that it's easy to like sort of fake it till you make it, and your ass can't really sing, which kind of affects the live performance aspect. But he was really dope. That was pretty cool. So they had DJ sets on the grounds, right? And they had a couple different DJs, and one of them was like the BBC radio. I don't know what their stage was called, but it was the BBC radio stage. And they had like a dance hall and a soca set. Bro, it was like a breath of fresh air, you know what I'm saying? Like sitting and watching people perform is dope. Obviously, that's what you go there for. But it like sort of switched the vibe up, and you just got to like let loose and dance for a little bit. They played some songs that I love. They played some Beanie Man. They played Taliban's by Byron Messiah, which was crazy to see overseas and people singing along to it. So then after that, I went to go see Knucks, who was probably one of the people I was most excited to see that day. And he lived up to the hype. Watching Knucks, it was just so dope because I haven't went to a concert and seen a real MC in concert in a while, or no one that stood out notably like in my Rolodex of concerts and stuff like that. Like watching somebody perform who's just really good with his breath control, the way he enunciates and stuff like that, which are just small, minute details that the crowd probably doesn't give a fuck about, but they matter. And it's dope to see as somebody who cares about music. And all the songs that I loved at home and listened to all the time in my car, in my crib, he performed all of them. That was a great thing about today. All the songs I wanted to hear by all of these artists got performed, and I loved it. And so Nux was dope. I got to talk to him for a little bit after. I just dapped him up, said, "What's up, good show." I told him to keep up, remember the name, you know what I'm saying? Because niggas will know my name. But I was like, yo, when you see me again, don't be surprised. I came out here to see y'all, nigga. My favorite song that he performed was Nice and Good. In between sets, it was just the DJs. So I went over to another DJ set, and then I saw Kehlani perform. Yo, the girls love Kehlani. I didn't get it. Like, I love Kehlani, I love her music, but I didn't know the girls loved her so much. And she put on a great show, and her whole band was all women, which I thought was pretty cool to see because I don't think I've seen that at any show. Like the drummer, the guitarist, everybody in the back was a woman. And it's dope to see her like really go out of her way to make an effort to put all these women, right? And maybe that's part of the reason all the women in the crowd love her. But she put on a great show, and then she played my favorite song, which was Serial. My favorite Kehlani song is Serial Lover. And I got to see her perform that, and it was everything I thought it would be. I was pretty close for her, and I was pretty close for pretty much everybody, honestly. I was close for Nux. Nippa, not as much, because I got there towards the end of the set. I forgot to talk about Lucky Day. I started off with Lucky Day. He was the first person I saw. He was actually a real surprise, right? Like, I know Lucky Day was like a writer and behind the scenes in music, but prior to his like solo career really starting and taking off. And seeing somebody that skilled and talented in person was really, really cool. Like, he really can sing. His voice was great. He plays guitar and his stage presence was dope. The aesthetic was dope. And also, he had some parts in his songs that now I'm thinking about it, like seeing him do it in person versus hearing the records, like he's rapping. He's rapping on some of these records. And I talk about this a lot, just the changes in hip hop and rap, but I just think like rapping, it has just become a tool in the toolkit. Like singing has all, like you can see singing in multiple genres. Why can't you see rapping in multiple genres? And watching Lucky Day do that was pretty clear and evident. It was like, oh, he's rapping on some of these songs. And so I stayed for probably like 20 minutes of his set because I wanted to get over to the stage Knucks was on, which is where Nippa was performing prior. I left Kehlani set a little bit early, like I think like 5 or 10 minutes early to try and get a good spot for Stormzy. And I will say, having an American accent out here helps so much, right? Like most of the shit people get mad at you about at a festival, when you just start talking as an American in London, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. You're like, oh, where are you from? And you just chop it up for a little bit and you kind of get a pass. And so I started making my way. Stormzy, there was a lot of people out there. And so I started sort of like snuggling my way through, trying to get through as far as I could. I ended up stopping near this group of people. And then this one dude, it was this black guy. He was like, yo, I'm near the front. And he started trying to make his way through. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to just follow him and try and get as close to the front as I can. And we ended up getting probably like 10 or 15 feet from the middle of the stage, which was pretty good, honestly. And so we standing there and Stormzy comes out, bro. And Stormzy put on the best performance I've ever seen live, personally, or my favorite performance. Let me say that. I've seen a lot of people live. Burna Boy, Kid, Kendrick Lamar. I've seen a lot of people. And I would say this probably was one of my favorite performances. And it definitely gave me a new respect for Stormzy than I had prior. I liked his last album, This Is What I Mean. But to hear the songs live and see him perform them and go all the way, like with really singing them, and seeing that mixed in with his older set of like older songs, like grime songs, rap songs and stuff like that, like I think it needs to be talked about more, how far off from the median or the norm he went with this album, right? Some people say like it wasn't what they wanted, but for an artist to really go that left and be like, I'm gonna do this, and for him to create such a beautiful body of work, like instrumentation on there is so dope, the writing on there is so good, the flow of the album is so crazy. To see him perform most of that album and then do all the other stuff too, it was nuts, bro. It was nuts. And every song before this that I was like, yo, I wish he performed this when I get there, he performed it. He performed Wiley Flow, which I really wanted to see. He performed My Presidents Are Black. He performed Bossy Bob. He performed Clash, which was my favorite verse of his. He performed everything, bro. And just to see the variety of the show, bro, it was like, what can't he do? And his bag was, it was like 2 hours of hits, bro. And like, I love Stormzy, but he's not that big with my friends or in the areas I'm from. And so to see like the crowd know all the lyrics to like all the songs, even the new album, right? You would think maybe people wasn't fucking with it over here as much just because it's so different. Not because it's not good, because it's so different. But to hear the entire crowd singing these songs was crazy, bro. I think the highlight of the performance to me was he performed, it was raining, and he performed Rainfall right before it started raining. And then as the song was going on, it started raining. It's like Prince performing at the Super Bowl, Purple Rain, right? The song, I'm not comparing the songs, only in this moment does it make sense. And it rained and he performed Rainfall. This was a moment, you know what I mean? And this was one of my favorite performances that I've ever seen. And I'll remember this for a long time. And hopefully I get to talk to these people at some point and be like, yo, I was there. You know what I mean? Like when I get to interview Stormzy or I get to interview Knucks or all these people, I got to do this. And this was something I really wanted to do. And I enjoyed it. I had the time of my life. It was so good.